Hello, everyone. My name is Mike Moran, and I'm the author of the Believers superhero novel trilogy series. Right now, we are in Book 2, Chapter 18, Devastation. Where are you going? How long will you be gone? Cynthia asked herself desperately. Jerry, my son, please be okay, Mrs. Miller begged. I'm sorry I failed you, son. If only I were stronger. If only I had powers like you. I wish I could have done more for you, more to prepare you for things like this. Forgive me and come home soon, Mr. Miller pleaded. Whatever happens next, know that I love you and will always support you. None of this was your fault. So don't blame yourself and don't do anything stupid. Come back home when you are ready, and I will be waiting for you. Good luck, Jerry. Cynthia prayed into the sky. Jerry was miles high, floating aimlessly in the night sky. He was above the earth at the edge of the atmosphere, far away from everything and everyone, hoping to have a moment of silence. Yet he heard all the words of his loved ones, and all the sounds of earth flooded his ears. Superhearing was both a blessing and a curse. The only way to silence them all was to close his mind completely, but even then, his memories haunted him. He could see and feel Leah, as if she were alive, as if she were still alive, replaying every memory with her in his mind. She was innocent, born to a world that never wanted her. Her parents abandoned her, she contracted cancer, and a psycho shot her in the back. She never stood a chance. Leah's complicated life and dire challenges were a constant uphill battle, and she inevitably lost. But Jerry had to try and help. Everything in his mind, body, and soul begged him to save her, and he failed. What was the point? Jerry cursed loudly into the lonely sky. He opened his eyes and looked around, wondering what to do next. His life felt meaningless now. People all over the world die every day, but that never bothered him because he knew he was only one person and couldn't save everyone. But Leah was right in front of him. How could he fail to save someone who sat on his shoulders and fell into his arms? Jerry couldn't fathom any of this, and floated around the sky, lifeless and ignoring the world. He did this for hours on end, letting nothing in or out, just barely existing. He felt so depressed that he wanted to fall upon the earth and die. But something held on to him, something warm and hopeful. The sun did not speak to him, but it nurtured him, cradled him like a baby, and did not allow him to fall. More time passed, allowing Jerry to mentally heal and contemplate his future. Maybe being a superhero was overrated and no longer needed. Maybe his presence in the world attracts villains. Maybe if he quit and went into hiding, villains would leave his family and friends alone. Maybe the world was better off without superheroes. All these thoughts, and more, bounced around his brain, weighing the pros and cons for such a life-altering decision. As Jerry floated above the world, he enjoyed isolation and felt at peace. He almost believed he could live this way forever. However, everything happens for a reason, as his father often told him, and this time it rang true. Jerry suddenly saw the earth shake. He thought his eyes were playing tricks on him, until he heard buildings collapsing and horrific screams of terror. Jerry took a closer look and realized something dire was happening in the country of Indonesia, so he instinctively sprang into action. Strangely enough, Jerry felt himself overflowing with a nearly endless supply of solar energy. The sun had nourished and empowered him for 12 hours. He focused all this new power, creating a protective energy barrier around himself, and flew down to Earth faster than the speed of sound. Within seconds, he was hovering over a havoc-filled city, rumbling and falling apart. Building debris was raining down everywhere and plenty of people were in danger. So Jerry teleported multiple times around the city, punching debris in midair to destroy or knock it away from civilians. Boom! Each punch created an explosion, scaring people below and sending them frantically running away, but at least they were safe. However, a blue and white skyscraper began to fall. It was over 700 feet tall. It was way too large to punch away. So Jerry swooped in and held the building up with his back and pure strength. He slowly moved the skyscraper into its normal position and was forced to hold it in place, waiting for everyone to evacuate the building. Meanwhile, he watched the city crumbling, and some people were still in danger. He observed people carefully and used bursts of telekinetic power to knock civilians out of harm's way. Poof! Whip! Blam! People were being thrust away from danger by Jerry's invisible telekinetic attacks, which certainly caused pain and bruises, but at least they avoided death. Jerry thought he had everything under control, even smiling and feeling like his old self again. However, he saw a young girl far away and crying on the ground. She was alone, too weak and scared to stand up against the relentless earthquake. She was too far away for Jerry to reach with his telekinetic energy, and a sinkhole was beginning to open near her. The sinkhole grew bigger and bigger, swallowing cars along the way and approaching the girl. Jerry could not watch that young girl die, and he couldn't let the skyscraper fall across the city and kill more people. Inevitably, he had to make a tough choice. He prayed that most of the people had evacuated the skyscraper, then he released a sudden burst of energy, causing the skyscraper to explode from the top down and collapse upon itself. Jerry hoped citizens were far away from the danger zone and began focusing on rescuing the young girl. Jerry teleported next to the young girl and grabbed her just before falling into the sinkhole. He flew her to safety, but she was petrified, holding on to Jerry for dear life. She almost died in an earthquake. She was being flown over an apocalyptic city, and she could hear chaos and suffering below. She also did not know where her parents were. They could be perfectly fine, critically wounded, or dead, and she had no way of finding the truth. Lastly, she had no friends, family, nor anyone else to hold on to. Jerry was the only one she could count on for now. He flew her far away from danger to ensure her safety, and then he placed her gently on the ground. He was about to fly off and rescue more victims in the city, but the young girl hugged Jerry tightly like a teddy bear. Jerry tried to safely pry her off, but she adamantly held on and refused to let go. Out of desperation and instinct, Jerry shouted, "Leah, stop!" The young girl loosened her grip and looked up with tear-filled eyes. She appeared hopeless and lost. Jerry immediately realized his mistake. This wasn't Leah. Leah was gone, gone forever, and this young Indonesian girl could never replace her. No one could. Despite Jerry's outburst, the young girl grabbed him even tighter and shook with fear. She was scared, confused, lonely, and sad, thinking her life was over and nobody cared about her. Jerry felt all her emotions, crouched down, and hugged her as tight as he could. He apologized several times, whispering, "I'm sorry," and cried profusely. With his super hearing, he could hear everything happening in Indonesia. So many people in pain, buried under rubble, and calling out for help. But Jerry was paralyzed by guilt. Even after 12 hours of floating above Earth, far away from everyone, it wasn't enough. Painful memories were bombarding him once again. Tears streamed down like a waterfall, more than any other time in his life. All his pent-up pain and emotions were seeping out with every tear, and he wasn't sure if he was apologizing to the young Indonesian girl or Leah. And that's it. We're done with chapter 18. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you all very much for watching this video. and we'll see you next time.